You end up going to Windorama yourself out of frustration, correct?
They
when
don't
did
know
you
that.
do that?
They don't know that. I went on.
They don't know you went?
Nope.
Well, they know now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
This is the plaintiff, Mary Hughes. She says she hired the defendant and paid her in full to install a new window in her house. Turns out it was nothing more than a scam company who stole her hard-earned $1,400. She was lied to every step of the way. Now, almost a year later, she has no new window, no money, and is suing to the tune of $1,400. This is the defendant, Jacqueline. She says she ordered the plaintiff a custom window, but when it arrived, it wasn't the one that was ordered. She had to reorder the correct one, and by that time, the plaintiff lost her patience and told her she wanted out of the deal and wanted a full refund. Well, she spent a lot of time on this job, did a lot of prep work to her house, and she's on the hook for a restocking fee. Or a refund? No way. She's accused of being a pain in the glass.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated, come to order, please. Let it get 10 minutes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Ms. Hughes, you are suing Jacqueline's company. You're the president. You don't want us to use your last name or your company's name for $1,400, the amount that you've paid so far for windows you've never received. Correct? All right. What happened? You were in the market for getting one rather enormous window for your den.
Yes, it's a huge window. It's 90 by 53.
And how did you find that company to hire?
I posted on Facebook. I belong to a group with over 5,000 members on it. Massapequa Moms Group.
I love that name, Massapequa Moms Group.
Yes.
All right. And so you end up negotiating with them, and what was their total price for the window? Window and installation.
$1,975.
All right. And you paid in advance how much?
I paid him $1,400. He had come to my house.
He being who?
Her husband, Nick.
His first name is what?
Nick.
Okay, go ahead.
He came to my home on the 24th of November.
Okay. And when were you supposed to have a window?
The window was originally supposed to go in on December 5th.
Do you have a contract with them?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I have a job proposal and a job
What happened
estimate.
on December 5th? Did you get the window?
No. He told me that his uncle had passed away. It was his mother's last living brother, and he had to go to Pennsylvania to help his mom clean out the uncle's house.
Okay.
We agreed upon it would go in on the next Saturday, the 12th of December.
And did he come in and install it on the 12th?
No, he did not.
What did he say?
Come. He came to my home. He took off 2 pieces of siding around the window and then said they'd be back. They were going to go pick up the window.
Okay.
Came back 2.5 hours later with no window.
Did he tell you what had happened?
He said that Windorama, which is where the window was going to be purchased, had screwed up. That he ordered the right window and that they ordered the wrong window.
Do you have the purchase order for the window?
I do have the
Did you ever have any discussions with her directly, or were all of them?
Yes, I actually, the day that my husband was at her house prepping, he was there for about 3 hours in the morning.
Hand me the first order that ended up coming in correctly.
This one. That was the window that we ordered.
So they tell you there's a problem, the wrong window came, we're going to have to reorder it, and so far you're still on board. What is it that makes you change your mind?
It was right before Christmas time at this point, so with the holidays, he had said it was going to be, the window wouldn't be coming in until after the holidays. So I said that that was crazy, but I understood it, and that we'd be in touch with after the holidays. He had reached out to me on December 23rd through a text wishing my family and I a happy holiday, that he was trying to speed up the process of the window. He was even going to have the window come unassembled, so it would be at my house even quicker, and he would put it together in my backyard.
All this discussion is taking place during the holidays?
Yeah, 2 days before
Jacqueline,
Christmas.
you're going to have to explain to me why your second order of the window says January 27th.
No problem. So basically what happened was, we had gone there and my husband had prepped everything to take the window down. He took all like the wood up,
That doesn't do her any good. Where's the window? It's December 10th you order it. You go over there December what?
It was right before Christmas, about 2 days before Christmas.
But why is it a month and several days before you reorder the correct window? You should have reordered it there.
Well, what happened is, I will explain, every company kept telling us 6 to 8 weeks. So because my husband has a lot of, supply places that he deals with, he went around to literally...
How is it going to help to not order it in 30 days? Yeah, it could be what you're saying, or it could be that you've already spent the money she gave you, and you have to wait until you get the money to go ahead and go order her window. That could be it.
We have an account with them.
Well, I don't understand then why you would possibly let 4 weeks pass, because that 4 weeks is most of the 6 to 8 weeks, which was the outside estimate. So how could it possibly help the customer for you to wait 4 weeks? You end up going to Windorama yourself out of frustration, correct?
When did you do that? They don't know that. I went on.
They don't know you went?
Nope.
Well, they know now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So would you ever, under any circumstances, pay, say, a contractor in full before he starts?
Not at all.
And why not?
I've been burned that way before. So
Why do they burn you?
they promised to do a great job. It was going to be done.
But that can be the case with all of them, whether you pay up front or not. Why is it bad to pay up front?
It's just a bad business deal to do
Because?
that. Because you want to see the results first. You want to be able to say, job well done.
Okay, well, I'll explain in a minute. Going inside the courtroom.
Windorama told me that they remember Nick coming in that day. He priced out my window about 3 or 4 different ways. He left without ever ordering the window. The window was ordered then originally, they said, on December 10th. It is not a special order. It is a stock window right from their shelves. It was never priced out for white vinyl outside and inside, and that he wasn't telling me the truth.
Meaning he hadn't ordered a window?
He ordered the window on December 10th, but
Right.
it was not the window that I wanted.
So he had made the mistake, not them.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And I tried to, and that no money at all had been put towards the window at
Okay,
all.
but how about, did they order the correct
No.
window
No.
ever
There was
by
no-
the time
no
you had
other-
gone? Which is exactly what this seems to represent. So what excuse do you possibly have for wasting another 4 weeks?
So basically, she did not go to Windorama. I spoke to them. I have the person I spoke with. She actually called and told them that she was me. And they said that the window has been sitting here since whatever they told her, but that it was the wrong window. So, like I said, Nick had gone to every other outlet he possibly had.
Do you have an answer for my question, which
sorry.
is, how can it benefit a client that you waste 4 weeks in ordering the correct window? Because
He
by now
thought-
you have had her money almost 2 months and
Yes.
not ordered the correct window.
He thought that he could get it from any different supplier. He called from Connecticut.
You know how long it takes to make 6 calls to suppliers? You can do that in a few hours. Why did it take 4 weeks?
That I can't answer you.
Where's your husband?
My husband, he had a personal issue, and he can't be here
Okay,
today.
so then you're the guy, the only guy I can ask.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to answer. What possibly could be the reason to waste all that time?
Because over the phone, they didn't want to deal with it. He had to go down to these places. So he traveled to several different places, to 2 different states. And my brother...
When did you file the lawsuit?
I followed the lawsuit on January 15th.
Did you ask for your money back?
I did.
What did he say?
He said, not a problem, but they needed another week in order for them to give it back to me, because money doesn't come in the way it goes out, this and that. I did give them another week. And when we were supposed to meet and I was supposed to get my $1,400 back, now his grandmother passed away in Pennsylvania. And it was a 2-day wake in Pennsylvania, and then they were gonna ship her back to Long Island for a 1-night wake. And he called me all sorts of names that it's people like me that he tries to keep his children away from because I'm impatient. And I said, listen, all I'm asking for is my $1,400 back. I said, if you want to give it back to me, we can avoid being here right now, and if not, then I'll see you in court.
And what did he say?
I'll see you in court. He said he was going to give the money to the court. I'm wasting everyone's time. He was going to give the money to the court himself, and he'd give it to me on the 17th of January.
Okay.
And I do. I filed the
You didn't
lawsuit
get
on
the
the
money.
15th.
When did you file the money?
January 15th.
Oh, and the window was in order to January 27th?
Correct. And
Let me
she's
see.
not telling-
So the lawsuit got filed January 15th, and then you ordered the window 12 days after that?
I didn't get any lawsuit papers.
Do you and your husband talk?
Yes,
Okay.
a bunch of times.
I think you got the lawsuit papers.
No, I didn't get the lawsuit papers until January 23rd.
What do you think is going on?
So
What do you think is going on?
What
do you think is going on?
Okay.
Well, I've found out a lot of things after the fact. I'm not the only person that they have done this to, unfortunately. I'm not really sure what happened to the money or where it went. I just know that they...
What do you mean you're not the only person that they've done this to?
Well, because Massapequa Moms Group has so many members in it, I did reach out to a few other people who
And what did you find out?
They've been both arrested for burglarizing homes that they were working on.
How did you find this out?
It was all over the news, apparently.
What
but
happened?
I was out of New York State.
What happened?
So basically, she is wrong as far as burglary goes.
Were you and your husband charged?
I was arrested for possession, I had 2 legal guns, and I submitted the proof to my lawyer at this point.
What
I
else
was
were you arrested for?
For 2
Were
illegal
you
guns.
arrested for possession of stolen property?
No.
Was your husband arrested for
My
that?
husband was arrested for burglary, but the judge, when he went before them,
How many charges of burglary?
3. But
On clients' houses?
that's what they're saying. But the judge went ahead and said burglary is unlawful entry into a home.
And this is just theft?
And that he had, whatchamacallit. But the thing is my husband had workers, and the problem that my husband had
Jacqueline,
is
do me a
that-
favor. Pay this lady back her money, because under any stretch of any imagination, it is not reasonable for somebody to give you money, give you $1,400, whether it's the beginning of December or the end of November, and to not have a window
Can I
get,
ask
no, you can't. And to not have a window get ordered until January 27th, after a lawsuit is filed. Okay? Because it's very clear what's happening. They pay you money, and then you pay your bills. So you don't have the money to go ahead and pick up the window and do the job. Pay her back her $1,400 plus your court costs. That's my verdict.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, the judge came down pretty hard on this defendant, losing the case. What's your reaction to this?
My husband worked 8 hours on her house, I guess for free.
All the delays that she had to go through waiting for you to get back to them, and what about all that? All those excuses, it just sounded like...
No excuses, unfortunately. His uncle did pass away, and his grandmother did pass away, and it was a short period of time of losing 2 people.
It's sad, but it's not her problem.
No, it's absolutely not.
All right, head right down this way. All right, step on in here, and all right, what's your comment coming out after this? You win this case.
I'm happy that I won it, and I hope that they're no longer able to do business and take advantage of more people.
What were you so hesitant to come forward with certain evidence for?
Because they do live in a community close to mine. They have 2 small children. I'm not that type of person.
Okay, Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, look, if you pay up front, you lose the incentive on the part of the contractor to really want to do that work to get the rest of the money. At very most, pay 50%, and if they say, no, I want more, find another contractor. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Ken Stagney. He says he returned home from a weekend getaway to find his cat wrapped in a blanket on his front doorstep, dead. There was a note attached from his neighbors, the defendants, stating their 2 rescue dogs killed his cat. The defendants were apologetic at first, but he reported the incident and another attack to the authorities. Now they refuse to pay for the cremation fees, a memoriam, and a new cat. So he's suing for the $825 he's owed. These are the defendants, Paul and Jamie Halstead. Paul says he doesn't even think the dead cat belongs to the plaintiff, and the guy's trying to scam them. That's right, their dogs were investigated by the authorities. They've never attacked a fly, and he thinks the wild bobcat, which was spotted in the neighborhood, got the cat in question. They're accused of being doggone stubborn.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says he came home from vacation, found his cat dead on the front doorstep in a blanket, and he says the defendant's dogs are responsible. The defendants say it's a scam. Their dogs are innocent. It's the case of dog got your cat?
Litigants have been
Nobody
sworn.
heard the be seated, come to order.
You're good, thank you. Litigants have been sworn.
I knew there was something wrong. I'm looking out. I'm looking at you. It all looks familiar except for everybody still standing. Okay, Mr. Stagney, you are suing Paul Halstead and Jamie Halstead for $825 that you say they owe you because, according to you, their dogs attacked and killed your cat.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Can you tell me what you know?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I went away for a weekend, and on my return, when I pulled into the driveway, I saw a towel wrapped up in front of my door and a note on my door. And I knew right away that that wasn't good. So I went over and unwrapped it, and I found that my cat's son, Lynx, was dead.
Your cat's
Son. He is a family member, and so I consider him, my cat's son.
Are you saying cat/son? Is that
Yes,
what you're
I am.
trying to? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So your cat, the cat's name was Lynx?
Yes, ma'am.
Was dead inside of the towel. Okay.
Yep, he was wrapped up in a towel.
Okay.
And there was a note on my door from my next door neighbor.
Okay.
Who
was
was
not the defendants?
No,
Okay.
no, ma'am.
Saying?
Saying that at 5:30 that morning, he heard dogs making a loud noise, barking, attacking, and went outside and found my cat in the jaws of two Rottweiler separate mix being attacked. And he got the cat free from them, but by that time it was breathing its last breath.
Right.
And he was very emotional and wrote me a really long letter, apologetic of what happened. And so when I read the letter, I went over next door and we spent some time talking about what happened. And, then
Is he here to testify?
No, he's not, but I do have an affidavit.
May I see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So go on.
So we talked about what happened, and he was a member of the community Facebook page and told me that he had seen postings on Facebook of the defendants looking for their dogs that had escaped before.
Do you have the posts?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see them? What is the date that this happened?
November 15th.
So when did you find out that the dogs that you suspected had done this belonged to them?
On the 19th. It was the day I called animal control.
Okay, so did animal control come out and speak to them?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever speak to them?
I did. I called Paul
Okay.
and told him what happened. And he was very apologetic.
Okay.
And told me that, the dogs had escaped several times and that they were doing their best to contain them.
Okay.
And I told him, that they weren't containing them because they had killed my cat. And I sent him actually a picture of the deceased cat as well as the cremation bill and asked
The cremation bill was $200, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So why was your cat loose?
Well, my cat was loose because I had that cat for 13 years, and
How did you get the cat?
It was given to me. It was a breed cat. It was a American bobtail cat that a friend of mine had in South Florida when I was living there. And when they moved, they couldn't take the cat, so I adopted it from them.
Okay.
And I had the cat for 13 years, and the cat. I don't know if you own cats or not, but they can be very vocal when they want something and very determined. And I have a picture of him, if you'd like to see it, sitting at the front door, meowing hours upon hours to get outside.
Okay.
So, rather than keep him against his will.
Did the cat have its nails?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Do you have a license from your condo association in order to have a, quote, community cat that can roam?
I do not have a license, no.
Okay.
He was in, I live in a very rural type.
Doesn't matter. You live in a planned community, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there are rules in the planned community.
Yes, ma'am.
Your rules happen to say you can't have a loose cat but you can have a community cat. If it's a community cat, you have to do A, B, C, D, E, whatever it is. You didn't do any of that. So you fall into the category of a guy who left his pet loose while you were away. So we know he leaves his cat outside as a matter of course, and that it's not a, quote, community cat under the bylaws of your condo association. What's your excuse? Because my understanding is that this is not the first time this happens.
Sure. It is. a situation that we have worked very diligently to
How many
correct.
times have your dogs gotten out?
3.
That's not diligent. Diligent is it happens the first time and then you see to it that it never happens again. Okay, that's diligent. Plus you have 2 dogs that look like attack dogs. What are they?
Australian Shepherds.
Are they part Rottweiler or no?
No, they have nothing to do with
They're
that.
beautiful dogs. I mean, but they're kind of scary looking, especially together. I don't know why. More than if it was just the one dog.
The plaintiff says he came home and the cat was dead on the porch. He's blaming the defendant's dog, and the animals have escaped at least 3 times. Looks bad for them. Let's listen.
So how are your dogs getting out?
Well, first of all, we adopted them. They're about 6 to 8 years old. We didn't know they were rescued dogs. We went looking for one. They are twins, so the people asked if we would take them.
There's usually a litter of more than 2. Tuplets.
As crazy as it sounds, I tell you what, I mean, we went from, I put concrete blocks in the ground in the back so they couldn't dig out. We did every time we found a place in which they would try to escape.
Right, but so you'd find a different spot of the fence where they were digging?
Eventually I just ended up securing
that's the thing. That's what you needed to do after the first time.
Sure.
You needed to just do the whole thing. But when you say eventually you did the whole thing, this was after this event?
No, this was from the very beginning.
You did the whole thing, then how did the dogs get out?
I have a 2-year-old son.
But that's not what you said in your answer to the complaint.
No, I have a 2-year-old son that left the front door open.
That's not what you said in your answer to the complaint. You said that they dig.
That did what?
That the dogs dig.
The instance in which he found a way to dig out.
When did you realize that he was missing?
About 5:30 in the morning.
Okay.
The other one started barking.
Okay. So then what happened?
And as soon as I went to open the gate to try to get I normally take you can't catch them. Unfortunately, in this case with abused dogs, they were so scared of everyone, they wouldn't come to anyone. So as I was taking the other one to go find him, because that's the only way that he would come to me is if I had the other one, he actually ran off too.
How did he run off?
Because I opened the gate, and as I tried to...
Why didn't you put him on a leash before you opened the gate?
That's what I was attempting to do.
Okay, do you still have these dogs?
I do not.
No, because you shouldn't have them. Because you can't figure your way out of the paper bag on this. This is not rocket science, folks. People do this. They figure out how to make sure their dogs are controlled. Let me hear from you, Jamie. You've been noticeably silent. I don't know why.
Trying not to interrupt.
Yeah.
On the 11:15.
Were you awake that morning, 11:15?
No. And the first day we brought our dogs home, when he said about our 2-year-old, the day we brought them home from the Humane Society to introduce them to our children, our kids had never had a pet before. And so the door opened, and that's how they got out the very first day.
Weren't you a little bit worried, though, to bring 2 rescue dogs into a home with a 2-year-old?
I have 7 children. So they
Good
were
Lord.
super.
So how many? So it's the ages are 2?
We start at 16, 14, 9, 7, 5, 3, and 2.
Okay. And so I repeat myself, at least the 5, 3, and 2, weren't you worried about bringing rescue dogs in with... Because they're not gentle.
Right.
I don't mean the dogs, I mean the children.
Right.
Right? Like, that's kind of like bad around a rescue dog.
Well, that's who they feared the most, was me and the 2-year-old.
Yeah.
They were very skittish. They were very, even when the police came.
The children or the dogs?
The dogs.
Right.
Whenever the police came, the animal control came and met with me and met our dogs and everything.
Was there ever an incident with the children and the dogs?
No,
okay.
never.
So where did the dogs go?
When they got out on the 15th, they came back. Our community, like I said, the Facebook posts and stuff like that, friends in our church posted and said, I think your dogs are on this page. I think they're trying to claim that your dogs killed a cat. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And suddenly then we've got notifications that he was posting pictures of the dead cat on our Facebook page. And then dogs with cats in their mouth because
just random other dogs.
Yes, that weren't even
cats
ours.
in their mouths.
Yeah,
your dog or his cat.
Yeah, it wasn't either one of them. And I was like, please, doing this. Our admin ended up banning him from our Facebook page because it got so bad. We got our dogs back. We did everything.
Did you guys ever? Okay, so Paul, you talked to him. You didn't talk to him?
No.
All right. When you talked to him and he says, "I'd like you to pay this," what is your response?
When he came, he said that I believe that your dogs killed my cat. And I said that while I don't share the same confidence that you do, I'm very sorry for what happened. He then asked me if I would pay for the cremation of his cat. And I said that I'm under investigation from animal control. There's potential I might be losing my dogs too. When this is all over, we'll have a conversation. I'll see about helping you with compensation for your cat. But the key piece in that was that I said, for the sake of peace, there had been a lot of, obviously he was very upset, which I do understand, but he was very aggressive through Facebook, not knowing us. I will say this.
So if you had neighbors who had dogs that ran around the neighborhood and even bit, would you rat your neighbor out and go to the animal control?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No, only because they're my neighbor and because my dog actually bit my neighbor's.
Oh, so you're a culprit. Oh, I get it. You're a culprit. Oh, now I get it. Okay. Would you ever rat your neighbor out?
Not before approaching the neighbor.
But if the neighbor didn't do anything?
Well, then I might have to call someone about it.
You should call someone about that. Okay, we're going inside the courtroom.
He was, I want justice, I want revenge, I want all of these kinds of things. Basically a verbal assault against us on Facebook.
Okay. Do you have any paperwork to show that your cat was, what breed did you say it was?
It was an American bobtail.
Do you have any paperwork to show that your cat was in fact a breed cat?
I have pictures of the cat, and I have a picture of American bobtail. It was not.
Go ahead.
Would you like to see that?
You want them to pay a $200 cremation fee. Oh, by the way, do you have the bill that
Yes, ma'am.
shows $200? I need that too. $125 for a memorial. Explain that one to me.
Yes, ma'am. Lynx love to sit in the garden in front of our house, and I would like to put like a little plaque with his picture on there to memorialize him.
And that's fine, but why would they have to pay for that?
Because they're responsible for killing my cat.
Right, but I understand why you would ask for the cost of the cat or the cost of cremation, but the memorial, no, it's a little out there. I'm not telling you, listen, it's your cat, your garden, you do whatever you want, but why would I make them pay for a little memorial for your cat? There are things that are necessary and there are things that are a choice. All right. Oh, what a cute cat. What's this, a picture?
That is my cat family that lives inside, and he was part of that family.
How many cats do you own, sir?
7.
Wow. Okay. May I see the cremation fee? Yeah, you gave me that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There's a cremation fee of $195. How old was your cat?
13 years old.
All right. So I know that your cat, you have called your cat son, causing me to try to understand what the heck you were saying. But I know what you meant now, and what you mean is that we love our pets very much. I was going to say like our children, but I'm going to leave that one.
I would say he's like my children.
Do you have children?
I do.
Do your children know you say that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to leave that one untouched too. But let's...
Neither young.
Let's discuss. All right, there's a $195 cremation fee. Okay. The memorial, I don't think, is a compensable expense. And then we have this. You have what we call our children, and we love so much, except for their property in the eyes of the law. And property depreciates. You are showing me the quotes for the cost of a kitten American bobtail cat. Assuming that this is an American bobtail cat, which that picture kind of looks that way, I'll give you that much. Then what do we have? We have a, how old did you say? 13-year-old?
13.
Right. So the question is, if you were to try to sell your cat, your 13-year-old American bobtail cat, what is the market value of that cat at the time of the death? That's how the law works, okay? So here's what's going to happen. I am going to assume that if a brand new kitten with a long life ahead of him can be $400, then a 13-year-old one, I am going to assess at a generous $150, plus the $195 cremation fee. It's a total of $345, which I find that you are each equally responsible for by virtue of the fact that both of your pets were roaming loose. And therefore, I am ordering you folks to pay him half of that amount, which is the $172.50 verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
It's a 50-50 split on the ruling here. The judge ruling that you're half negligent and half responsible. What's your reaction to this outcome?
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Now, you guys have how many?
7 kids.
Kids, right? He has 7 cats. That's coincidence, isn't it? Now, did you have too much going on under your noses to pay proper attention to the way you're supposed to care for those dogs?
Well, there is a lot that's been going on in our lives. Not that we neglected the dogs in any way. They were just very difficult to handle, and we found a place for them to.
Tough enough having 7 kids, right?
That's right.
Is that tough?
No.
No. Okay, head right around the corner this way. Okay, so that's not a community cat, and you're 50% responsible for what happened to. You accept that?
I guess I have to. I got justice for my cat, and that's what I came here for. And I believe justice was served.
Okay, Harvey.
Okay, Kurt, this is a really dumb part of the law. Animals are considered property. It's almost like they're considered like a sofa when you're figuring out how much they're worth. I think it's a stupid part of the law, but that's the way it is. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Sheila Newton. She says she was a tenant in good standing with the defendant, her landlord. And now that she's moved out, she's ripping her off. The woman owes her for security she's illegally withholding. This is America, where you fight for your rights in court. And that's just what she's doing today to get the $2,232 she's owed returned. This is the defendant, Claudette Dixon Shaw. She says the plaintiff shortchanged her on the last month's rent, left the place a mess to boot, and she has every right keeping her money. The plaintiff's barking up the wrong tree if she thinks she's getting any money out of her today in court, because the law is on her side. She's accused of taking advantage of a tenant.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says she was a model tenant and she's getting ripped off. But the defendant says the plaintiff skipped out without paying rent and left the place a mess. It's the case of rip and run.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Sheila Newton, you are suing your former landlord, Claudette Dixon Shaw, for $2,232, the remainder of the security that she refuses to return to you. Tell me what happened.
I moved into Claudette's.
How long ago?
I think it was like 2008 or 9.
So you were there a good 7 years?
Yes.
All right.
The remainder of the security deposit, I should have gotten back $2,600. She gave me a check for $300 and some odd dollars.
Okay, let's take a step back a second. Were you paying your full rent, or was Section 8 helping you with the rent?
Section 8 was helping.
Okay. How much did you pay, and how much did the government pay?
I paid $277.
$277?
Yes.
Okay. And the government paid?
22 something.
This was a 4-bedroom house?
Yes.
And who else lived there with you?
Me and I had a couple of children that lived there.
How many children originally did you have with you there?
2.
Okay.
And my grandson.
Okay. And then 2 of those children moved?
Yes, there was
So
some.
who was left at the end?
Me and my grandson.
Okay, so Section 8 then told you can't have a 4-bedroom house when it's you and your grandson?
Yes.
Okay. What is the day that you moved out?
November 30th.
All right, and in the month before, in October, Section 8 paid you October, correct?
Yes, they did.
All right, but then come November, what happened with Section 8?
Miss Newton told, in the end of October, she told me that they said she could stay, and they still paid the full amount of rent that they was paying before in November.
Did you get that word from Section 8?
I said to her, the letter that I have state that that they will pay $1,493, and the tenant will pay $1,357.
For November?
For November. She said, no, they told her. I said, well, nobody spoke to me about it, or sent me a letter. Okay. And so she stayed until November. When November came around, I realized that it was only their portion was in the account, and it was less. It was for the letter that I
Okay,
had.
so for the month of November, they paid the reduced amount they said they'd pay.
Correct.
And then she became responsible for how much? 1,000 what?
$1,357.
All right, so you end up paying $700.
I called her first.
Okay, tell me about the conversation you had with her.
I spoke to her and I said, I can't afford to pay that much. She said, can you pay me $700 by the 15th? And I said, okay, I'll get the $700. And that's what I did. I paid her the $700.
not aware that she still was going to want the 6-something.
Why would you feel that she was going to waive the additional 600 and something?
Because I told her I couldn't afford it. I was moved out.
I know,
by the
but just
5th.
because you say you can't afford something doesn't mean that the other person can afford to pay for it for you.
Yeah.
So for how you describe the conversation doesn't sound like she was agreeing to waive the 600.
Because
how much was the security deposit? It was 2,600?
Yes.
Is that correct? Yes. Okay, so everybody's in agreement on that. And of the 2,600, you kept how much for the remaining portion of the rent for November?
I was six something from that.
Can someone give me accurate numbers?
Yeah.
657. Yeah.
657.
Yes,
Thank you.
correct.
All right, and then what did you keep the rest of her money for? Because there's a substantial amount of money there.
So if a tenant just can't afford it, is that grounds for breaking a lease?
I think it's truly up to the landlord, but it's still a legal contract. So
Legal contract?
I believe they should be able to break it.
Okay, well, you're too much of a softie. Going inside the courtroom.
On the lease that she have, she's supposed to maintain the property, like, clean, leave, remove the snow and everything. Excuse me. After she moved out, we went there and it was really a mess. The house needed to clean. It was really filthy, especially the kitchen and the bathroom downstairs. There was a hole in the wall in the front porch.
I need pictures of everything that you're complaining about that you feel would entitle you to keep $1,900. So go ahead.
Okay, so we had to get a cleaning service to come in and clean up the house.
How much was the cleaning service?
It was $500.
Show me proof that
Yes,
you paid
yes,
$500
ma'am.
for
Yes,
a cleaning
ma'am.
service. What is that right there?
That's what, I guess it was a hole in the wall that she kind of patched.
Right, but somebody repaired it in this
tried to
picture?
patch over it.
Yes, the
that's what
patch
she
over.
did,
This is
yes.
your patch over or her patch over?
Her patch over.
I got it. There's a shopping cart with some items. I don't know what that's about. There's a bunch of junk. What is this a picture of?
That was the leaf that they had to clean up and to
Okay,
remove
so this is a
them.
picture after the work was done. All right. Do you have proof of what you paid for the leaves? And then someone, I guess, was drawing on the walls?
No, that's the ceiling fan.
Oh, someone was drawing on the ceiling fans?
That's what she said.
No, but how was there crayon or marker on the ceiling fan?
It was there.
I don't know.
Well, how did it get there? You don't know?
I'm not sure if it was there when I moved in, but...
Well, she's not going to take a perfectly good ceiling fan and mark it. I mean... Because it looks good otherwise. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that would be odd, I suppose. What are these? Because
that's what so they're moving off the garbage in the yard.
No,
So
what are these? These are receipts that you can buy at Walgreens or wherever, and then these are the originals. So you didn't hand these to anybody.
We just make copies and send to her.
Okay, who did you pay to do this?
Mr. Marshall.
Who?
Mr. Marshall.
Who is Mr. Marshall?
This gentleman that we asked to move the stuff for us.
Okay, so even looking at the three things you've handed me, it's still not $1,900. So why are you keeping the rest of the money?
That was...
Oh, here's a $1,300 bill for what? Painting the whole house? I mean, she lived there 7 years. You know some of this is wear and tear.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean,
Yes,
it's not
ma'am.
like she came and went in 6 months. It's
Yes,
7 years of a family of 4 living there.
Yes, ma'am. We did not charge her. We did not charge her for the whole $1,300. We charged her $600 because of the hole in the wall and part of the painting. We did not charge her for everything, and we had to charge her $100 for the locks.
Why?
Because we gave her a set of keys. We only got back one single key.
So what? She lived there 7 years. Tons of people got that key and could have made copies. Why would you ever rent it to the next person without changing the locks? That's a cost of doing business. That she doesn't have to pay that. What else?
That's
okay,
what
all
I
right,
have.
got it.
And the rent, or part of the rent.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Or part of the rent.
Your Honor, the receipts for the leave removal and stuff, and when I got them, I asked Leroy, who was Mr. Marshall. He stated that's her husband. So she had her
Is
husband.
Mr. Marshall
write
your husband?
The receipts.
Oh, you didn't tell me that little part. I asked you who Mr. Marshall was, and your answer was that it was somebody who, thank you, that it was somebody who does the yard. You think it might have been important for me to know that it's your husband? Okay. Based on what I'm looking at, I'm going to allow you to keep a portion of the security deposit for the damages that include the debris, the cleaning, the yard, not in the amounts that you're asking for, but the debris, the cleaning, the yard, and certainly the rent. And I'm going to order you to return a portion of the security deposit back to the plaintiff, and that's $1,000 verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
Okay, let me say it one more time. Being short of cash is never, ever, ever justification for breaking a contract.